One hate crime on a train, one communal riot in a state. RPF constable on board Jaipur-Mumbai bound train goes on a rampage. Shoots down his senior as well as 3 passengers. Goes coach to coach looking for victims to gun down. Kills RPF ASI Tikaram Meena, Asghar Abbas Sheikh, Abdul Kader Bhai Mohammad Hussain, Said Saifullah. In midst of charges of rabid bigotry, family claims constable mentally unstable. The other incident, Haryana burns in communal violence. Violence in Mewat spreads to Gurugram. Guns brandished, stones pelted, vehicles torched. Communal hotspot Nuh up in flames on July 31st after stones pelted at VHP's rally passing through a Muslim-dominated area. News of absconder and alleged murderer Monu Manesar being present at the rally fuels the communal cauldron. Home guards Neeraj and Gursevak killed. Shopkeeper Shakti found dead inside his shop. VHP member Abhishek killed. Gurugram Masjid Maulana killed. On naked display, manifestations of hatred, bigotry, intolerance and discrimination. 2 incidents of hate spur 2 questions. Who will bridge the communal divide? And how long can we all collectively keep looking the other way? Top focus on To The Point this evening.
All right, let's quickly take you through the news break that's coming in. Fresh violence has taken place in Gurugram is what we are getting in. Shops have been attacked in Sector 66 of Gurugram. Slogans raised in Sector 66 of Gurugram, Haryana. These are visuals that filtered in a short while ago. Many have been told who are working in the millennial city to go back and resort to working from home. Things haven't quite ebbed. Arson still rife where Gurugram is concerned. We're going to quickly cut across to my colleague Milan, who's reporting on this news break coming in from Gurugram, Haryana. Milan, can you get us up to speed? What is being reported? Fresh violence, arson. Lots of officers did tell their employees to go back home early. All schools still shut in the Gurugram area, in the New Mewat area as well. What's the latest?
Well, Preeti, I'd like to show you the kind of arson and violence that city of Gurugram has been facing after Mewat and whatever has transpired in Nuh. This is Sector 66 and it is also called as Badurshahpur, and we are at this particular area where shops were vandalized in broad daylight. Of course, because this area happens to be very close to where the Millennial City MNC offices are, people were told to leave early from their offices. Those who were doing work from home, they were okay, but others who had come to offices had to leave early. So this is a remnant of what I'm trying to show you. These are just remainders of what the mob violence has done to the shops of a particular community in this area of Sector 66 market in broad daylight. And you can see how the vandalism has led to the bikes being overturned. Some of them they were trying to torch, but the police was able to come here at the spot at that point. And of course, these fruit carts and the fruit chaat shops belong to one particular community, Preeti. And those
Milan,
people,
what's that community? Because, there is so much right now that is being hidden in terms of what is really coming out. But can you encapsulate for us right now which community is facing the brunt of the violence and what is it that the administration is doing? Why isn't there adequate enforcement where you're standing?
Well, Preeti, I'll show you. So if Ankit can show you the boards of the shops that you see here. This is Irfan Pehelwan, and the other one is Raul Bike of Sale and Purchase. So If Ankit could show you the other shop as well, pretty evident that the Muslim community shops have been targeted in this particular area in Gurugram. If we speak of the kind of mob violence that's been witnessed in all the shops that we have visited throughout the day, it's the Muslim community shops that are being targeted. Of course, there was no deployment of Gurugram police. The police, if I can show you, is now stationed on that side of the road since the violence has taken place. There have been a few policemen who have been at the spot for some time now, Preeti, but clearly speaking, the entire area, if you see those shops there, they have just started to open, but this particular stretch of market has been shut since the day because of the mob violence that targeted a few community shops, as we just showed you in the posters that have been torn because they belong to one particular Muslim community. And we've had many of these Muslim migrant laborers flee from Gurugram to safer areas because of what they think is a revenge for what has happened in Mewat and Nuh. Preeti.
All right, Milan, appreciate you joining us. Well, the communal tensions, communal violence has cut both ways where Nuh, Mewat and now Gurgaon is concerned. One might keep calling it one community against the other, but it's all too right in the open. It's been a naked display of what is an abused word, intolerance. It's been a naked display at one end of communal violence, rabid bigotry as well. And all of that right now playing out on your television screens. And questions need to be asked of the Haryana government of how did they allow it to happen on their watch. But sadly, viewers, there's not just one incident. There have been two incidents of communal violence. Why do I say that? Well, this was a communal riot which took place in the state of Haryana. Let me get you this other incident. That was a hate crime that took on board a train that was going in from Jaipur to Mumbai, where an RPF constable, allegedly deranged, mentally unstable, opened fire, killing his superior. Not just that. Along with killing his superior, he killed 3 others. Now, those 3 others, many would suggest he did so in a fit of rage and he was angry. But what has been documented is the fact that this man, and we've muted the video, is mouthing words which are bigoted, and then going on from one coach to the other coach. He passed 5 coaches hunting for victims to gun down. Those that he chose to gun down had very visible appearances of a particular community that we spoke of, the Muslim community, skull caps, beards. And all 3 of them that he gunned down alongside his superior were Muslims. However, his family has claimed very clearly that, listen, he was mentally unstable. But can one let it pass in the guise of just being mentally unstable? Was this man mentally unstable or was he rabidly bigoted? Questions need to be asked. Chetan Singh, an RPF constable, how did the RPF allow a mentally unstable man with a medical record to wield a weapon? Why did Singh go coach to coach looking for a victim to shoot down? Why did all victims share visual identities of being Muslim? Because there is right now a division. A certain lot which suggests that this was a man who was mentally unstable. He had a medical record of seeking medical help and was basically a deranged man on the loose. But would a deranged man on the loose go coach to coach looking for people who looked visually very Muslim in terms of identity? Questions also need to be asked of the RPF. How did they allow a man who had a medical record of mental instability to actually wield a weapon? I want to cut across right now to Dr. Deepak Raheja, Director and Chief Psychiatry, Hope Care India. Mr. Raheja, I want to ask you one very quick question. Do we really have checks and balances where mental health is concerned in this country? Here is a man who, by the RPF, was allowed to wield a weapon. His family says that he was mentally unstable. More so, an incident like this, does it also create a fear psychosis in a particular community?
It is obviously very, very disturbing to for a secular nation to witness an incident like that. But also what is of graver concern is that he had a weapon. It was an official weapon that he had. And it doesn't seem that this was an impulsive, impromptu happening. I mean, all the senior officers are now clearly saying that he was hot-tempered. And if he was hot-tempered, was he subjected to any psychological assessment? Was any psychometric evaluation done? Did we reconsider if he was mentally, psychologically capable of handling a weapon? So, of course, he chose to target a particular community, and because he's arrested, one of the easier parameter is to plead insanity or being unwell, and that provides possibly some relief in terms of the punitive measures. But more important than that is that if we have a mechanism, and I'm sure the forces have such a mechanism in place, but I think that needs to be more rigorous, because if in hindsight, now we can clearly say that he was hot-tempered, then even if a license is issued to a particular officer, why cannot, for that period that he seems unwell, or the officers feel that he's depicting not totally normal behavior? Because here we are not talking about slightly deviant, even if it's slightly deviant behavior, it is the cause of carrying a weapon where you can't just be harmful to yourself, you can take lives, and that's exactly what he's done.
All right, Doctor, appreciate you joining us. Also, when incidents like these happen back to back, and there have been multiple that have happened, there is a question that we need to ask ourselves: how long can we keep looking the other way? Because yes, this is an incident of a hate crime that has happened on board a train. On the other hand, there is an incident of a communal riot that has happened in Haryana. There have been many more before as well, and they've cut across both communities. I want to cut across two now. Our political panelists this evening. Joining me is Jasmine Shah, National Spokesperson, Aam Aadmi Party; Raman Malik, Spokesperson, Haryana BJP; Hemant Atri, Senior Journalist. We'll also be joined in a short while by Mr. Pawan Khera from the Congress. I want to begin with you, Mr. Raman Malik, talking about with what has gone down right now in Haryana, sir. I also come from Haryana, and today you stand accused, Mr. Malik, of what you have espoused, what you have spoken of, the Chhattis Qaum, the Bhaichara, all of that. Lip service, Mr. Malik. All of this has happened in your watch.
No, Preeti, I would differ, because there has been some, error into assessing the situation. That I fully agree. The local administration, what they have done, where the laxity was, has to be looked into once the situation is under control. But let me be very candid and clear that this is not an incident which has occurred just out of flare-up of emotion. This is a fully planned event which has been duly orchestrated by people who have maybe constitutional position or maybe elected positions. I do not know right now, but yes, the ground reports which are coming to us from all the people are that the people who are supposed to take care of people who have voted for them or not voted for them had other plans, and some go on to the extent of stating.
Mr. Malik, it's very easy to sit here and blame a political party or whoever you are trying to put the blame on. But Mr. Malik, what I'm going to do is, for your benefit, I'm going to put out, sir, hear me out. Mr. Malik, what I'm going to do is, I'll come back to you. Sir, just sir, humor me for 10 seconds. I'm going to put forth the entire timeline which I have culled out of incidents of communal violence in Haryana, starting from the last 5 years to the last 10 years. In my memory, and sir, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the worst communal incident that we have seen at least in the last 12 years. It came to a pass in 2018 in Titoli, Rohtak, and you and I both know what went down there. It wasn't the administration who came in and stemmed the violence, it was the community elders. Before that, 2015, Ballabgarh, sir. You and I both know 400 houses, Muslim houses, were completely, they had to leave their houses and move. You and I both know that, sir. There's a whole timeline of it. Now, you are saying that there is a particular party or a particular somebody who's on a constitutional post to be blamed for that. I'll ask you simple, direct questions. If there was a yatra which was communally charged, especially if we see the videos which preceded it, is passing through an communally strife-torn area, would we have not had enough police presence? Or would we have had police presence like now, which actually ran away and tried to save themselves?
Preeti, this is not the first year of this yatra. This is the fourth year, and everything, whether it was communication with the village elder, whether it was communication with the local representatives, the MLAs, everybody, the same status quo was assured, and every bit of things were looked into. But there were plans, otherwise the conspiracy has to be unearthed, which we will. We are finding out, because the stones do not come onto particular terraces without a conspiracy. The weapons do not come in without a conspiracy. The road plan and the attacks which are planned do not come without a conspiracy. Hence, let me
How is
also
it that
pick
there was
up-
such abject failure, Raman Malik, that your administration could not pick up on that conspiracy? And I will ask you another question while I bring in our other two guests. What about Mr. Monu Manesar? 8 months ago, this man is accused, Mr. Malik. 8 months ago, this man is accused of killing somebody. He is allowed to circulate videos. Why hasn't your police been able to catch him?
Was Moni Manesar in police station, cyber police station, that it was attacked? Was he in the showrooms that it was attacked? Was he in?
Why isn't he in the police station, Mr. Malik, is the question.
When
Is your-
Moni
is your-
not there, why was it attacked? And what about the other videos that you have seen on the social media, where cylinders are kept, where the people are giving threats, where other things are happening? Why is it that only Monu
Sir, are you
Manesar-
defending Monu Manesar?
This is the Rajasthan
You are already saying there's a conspiracy where you're talking about cylinders and stones.
find him.
It was the job of your police, Mr. Malik, to make sure there were no stones on any rooftops.
That is what
Many
we
would
report.
suggest your police was complicit. Many would suggest your police was complicit, Mr. Malik. How is it that they allowed stones to be accumulated by a particular community on their rooftops?
Monu Manesar, why is it that the constitution, which is always picked up in the matter of a particular faith, is not picked up right now? Can you stop Monu Manesar from traveling in Haryana as a free citizen?
Sir, he's a wanted man.
Police wants to catch him. Please
He
catch
is
him.
a wanted man. I just want to bring in, I want to bring in our other guests into this conversation. Jasmine Shah, national spokesperson.
And I'll clear 100 crore Hindus. He's also a wanted man. Nobody has a problem then.
Sir, I don't believe you're getting into whataboutery, not even days from now, but you're getting into whataboutery hours.
Why?
After your state has still not stopped burning. National spokesperson, Aam Aadmi Party, Jasmine Shah is also with us, as well as Hemant Attri, senior journalist. Hemant Attri, you've been tracking the chronology of events. Mr. Malik, we are going to try and fix your audio because there's a problem with your audio. But Hemant Attri, you have been tracking the events in the state of Haryana. Will you give us a chronology on how this came to a pass? How was it allowed that a yatra could go through such a communally sensitive area? How was it allowed that stones were allowed to be collected on rooftops? Shouldn't the police have known what was going on?
Preeti, it's a classic case of how not to handle such a sensitive situation as the government of Haryana and particularly the new administration has done. It's a classic case. Basically, if you look into the incidents, since 1991, after the demolition of Babri Masjid, there has not been a single communal right till date before yesterday. It's a history. And how these things are happening, basically, I may or may not agree with Mr. Malik has said about a conspiracy. But my plain question is, what for the government and its administrative machinery is meant for? They are there to maintain law and order, preempt any such conspiracies, and stop anything of going beyond any control. See, Gurugram is a millennium city. We all are progressive society, and what we expect for or aspire for a peaceful living. And what has happened there? If Mr. Malik allows me, because he generally doesn't allow anybody to speak except for himself, I will just like to, as you rightly pointed out, to give a narrative of how this thing has panned out. Last 48 hours, rather before this incident, if you go for last 48 hours, what was happening? As you rightly pointed out, Mr. Monu Manesar, he issued a video on his social media platform by inviting his followers to come to this yatra. He is very well within his rights. I have no confusion over that. But did the administration was not aware of as to what the sensitivity is? In a highly charged atmosphere, what should have the administration done? All these things which has come out yesterday since 1:30 p.m., since 48 hours, it was simmering up. Why? Because both sides were playing up on the social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and so many other places. And there are n number of videos of that. What was Gurugram administration doing? The same thing which Mr. Malik is saying, the same has been said by Mr. Chief Minister and the Home Minister of State. You will please tell me.
I will come to you, sir. Just give me a minute. Hey, Mr. Atri, just stay with me. Raman Malik, you want to say something? Let me just bring in Jasmine Shah into the conversation and then I'll come back to you, sir. Please allow me that. Jasmine Shah, your party is looking to enter Haryana and fight this election soon. Is there also somewhere down the line that your own state leadership scared where Haryana is concerned to actually talk openly of what has gone down? Because there is an election in order and a lot at stake?
Absolutely not, Preeti. And I'll come to the topic of Haryana. I want to just step back for a few seconds and point the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is this, that today no Hindu, no Muslim, no person of any religion wants a riot in this country. It is only the Bharatiya Janata Party that revels in riots in this country. In fact, its name should be changed today to Bharatiya Danga Party. And there are numbers to back it up. From 2014 to 2020, unlike what BJP would like to claim, NCRB data shows that there have been 5,415 riots in India, highest in the span of any 6 years in Indian history. And this is the reality of BJP. Today you see Manipur, an entire state is burning, not a word uttered by the Prime Minister asking for people of all communities to maintain peace. Half of Haryana today is burning, Gurugram today is shut down, not a word uttered by the Prime Minister of India, who has every opportunity to talk about every matter under the sun except when the country is burning. We saw even the national capital, 54 people were killed in broad daylight just 3 years back. Not a word was uttered by the Prime Minister or the Home Minister. And why? The answer is very simple. It serves the BJP to push the country into this fire of communal rage because it serves its vote bank politics. As far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we condemn every such instance. At the end of the day, the people of this country want peace. I again reiterate what I said earlier, that no Hindu, no Muslim wants any kind of a violence or riot. They want progress. They want their country to go forward. But BJP, and wherever there are BJP ruled states, you're seeing today state after state, multiple instances of riots. I stated 5,400 riots. It is surprising that majority of these are actually in Madhya Pradesh, ruled by BJP, Haryana, ruled by BJP, Gujarat even are seeing small instances of riots which somehow don't get reported in the national media. And this is the elephant in the room one needs to talk about. Haryana, it's extremely sad. Everything could have been preempted. Which is the group that brought out the procession? It was Bajrang Dal. It was a Sangh Parivar outfit. BJP government is saying that they didn't know what was going to happen. This Monu Manesar is absconding for 8 months and the BJP today is sitting, I was hearing the spokesperson of the BJP here sitting and defending that Monu Manesar ne to kuch nahi kiya. तो आप आज उनकी spokesperson बन के आए यहाँ इस debate के ऊपर. It is shameful today that a government and a party which has so much of power.
Raman Malik, you're being charged as being the spokesperson of Monu Manesar and not the government of Haryana.
Is it the same Jasmine Shah who is DDC, some Delhi Dialogue Commission guy?
So that's irrelevant. Can you please answer?
No, that is relevant. I'll tell you why. There is a lot of circumstantial evidences that
your
this person
state is in fire and you do not have the humility to accept it and put your state back on the track.
I would not
This
shows
your real intent. Your state, half of your state is on fire. And
Mr. Shah, Mr. Shah, let him. Okay, Mr. Shah, let Raman Malik just answer.
I would not like to debate with
Mr. Shah. Okay, Raman Malik, please go ahead, sir. Make your point.
See, if he is the same Mr. Shah who was there with the Delhi Dialogue Commission and all, I would not like to debate with this person because circumstantially it is evident that he works for foreign agencies, which is not acceptable. I do not think it would be appropriate to have a person.
So, let's what personal attacks are we getting at? This is just bizarre.
I would not like to. I would not like to somebody who circumstantially jails and...
Sir, you've not answered any question that we've asked you. We're going to just, okay, I'm going to quickly, I'm going to just quickly cut across to Mr. Pawan Khera as well, Chairman, Media and Publicity Department, All India Congress Committee. Mr. Khera, just a short while back, Mr. Raman Malik from the BJP has actually blamed the likes of your own party, which have fomented the trouble or the violence in the state of Haryana.
Preeti, I didn't watch what he said, but I'm shocked if that's true. When riots take place, there is an opening chapter to a riot. What's the opening chapter? The opening chapter is the kind of narrative that they float in the society. So that narrative acts as trigger. So it's not the first time. I mean, you see, whether it's Pehlu Khan, whether it's Kanhaiya Lal, whether it's Akhlaq, you have examples of the narrative preceding it and the narrative following it. And please focus on the narrative first. And that's why I keep complaining, not to your channel, but to several other channels, that for God's sake, don't become pawns in the hands of the government to spread the kind of narrative which leads to such events, which leads to widening of fault lines. What is happening is that this government takes advantage of fault lines and widens them, creates new fault lines, and then they cry wolf. This is a typical toolkit of the BJP. And I'm not surprised that they are resorting to it just before elections again.
But Mr. Khera, the flip side of that is with something that your party's been charged repeatedly, that for over years, because of the allegations of favoring a particular community or appeasement, you've created this kind of atmosphere which sees this belligerent kind of regional or a belligerent kind of communal hatred that has come into play.
Preeti, give me examples of where is this coming from? This mythical appeasement that they keep hurling on us, these accusations, where is that appeasement? What appeasement? If we follow the constitution, if we follow the secularism, the principle of secularism in letter and spirit, what's so wrong in that? That's our country. That we are proud of being secular. I mean, why should we be apologetic for following the constitution of India? It's the Prime Minister's job. He's taken oath of the constitution. He has to come and explain why is he not following, why is he not adhering to the tenets of the Constitution of India. Tell us that the Constitution is wrong. It's a piece of paper which should be thrown in the dustbin. Yes, okay, then let's have a debate on that. But for God's sake, as long as the Constitution is there, have some respect for the Constitution instead of blaming others for following the Constitution.
But Mr. Khera, I'll ask you one quick question. Before I let you go. Mr. Raman Malik, just give me a minute. I'm coming right back to you. One quick question, Mr. Khera. The fact is, when you talk about honoring the Constitution, do you not take any responsibility, is the charge, of creating an atmosphere which has seen such a toxic sense of communal division, which has led to so much hatred? Because there has been a community which actually feels they never got their due, even if it is the majority under your term.
Preeti, for the last 9 years plus, who's been in power? Both in Haryana and in the center. What are they talking about? Who's creating the atmosphere? Who controls all the media? Who controls the social media? Who controls all the institutions of the country? And then they have the cheek to blame the Congress party? I don't understand this logic. Who are they talking about? भाई या तो आप कह दीजिए कि आप कमजोर हैं, पूरी सत्ता है, 303 सीटें हैं, डबल इंजन है, सब कुछ है, फिर भी कंट्रोल नहीं कर पा रहे, फिर भी नैरेटिव किसी और का चल रहा है, ये कोई मान सकता है? Who will believe this? Nobody will believe this. It's your government everywhere. You control all institutions. You control propaganda machinery. And then you blame others for spreading a narrative. Where is our narrative? Our narrative doesn't get any platform.
All right, Mr. Khera, appreciate you joining us. Mr. Raman Malik, there have been pointed questions, sir, that have been asked of you. Ours, while your state is still burning, it's still burning. We can't really get into whataboutery, and especially standing up for absconders, sir, who are charged with murder.
I am not standing for anybody. I am standing for justice and the Constitution of India. My simple point is, when their MLA gives an open threat, the same way that you are accusing Monu Mane, sir, it's not whataboutery, it is comparing apples to apples. Then, at the same point, when he is the custodian of the fate of people in that constituency, has he fulfilled that?
Sir, I would think, not because it's a party or the other, but I would think a man who's accused of Murder is very different than
He has
somebody who was given a threat. Okay. Jasmine Shah wants to come in for 20 seconds and I'm wrapping up there. Jasmine Shah.
Maman Khan ke charge sheets dekhiye, ma'am.
BJP would do well to look at just their adjoining state, which is Punjab, where there is an Aam Aadmi Party government. We know that this is a border state, a very sensitive state.
Okay.
Yet, did you ever hear about any riot of even half of a nature like what we are seeing
All
in
right.
Haryana today? No.
Okay. Raman
Because
Malik
there is
wants
an
to come
honest
in. Raman Malik,
government.
20
We do not
seconds. Let's not
play-
get into personal attacks and wrapping up the show, sir.
But with such a strong government, you still cannot control your own state. And today
People
you
where
are
lawlessness is there. There are drugs, the sand mafia problem, the looting, and above of that, your own MLAs are, they are extracting money out of people.
All
And
right,
you are
that's okay. I'm going to just close the show. I appreciate you both for joining us because the fact was not getting into attacking each other or attacking each political party. It's about looking at the state of Haryana right now, still burning.